I'll now hand you over to the lovely Tand now, Karen, in her garden.
Hi there all, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, we'll have thumbs
So
up instead of unmuting everybody.
everyone's on mute, except I'm
Tudor is
myself on mute
absolutely
now.
correct. I am currently in my garden. So I'm accompanied by a menagerie of cats and a selection of wasps. So this could be quite a lot of fun for you. No, nobody can tell what might happen next. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Karen Dunsquire and I run a business called Elation. And we are business growth experts. So we work with organizations to help them create a customer journey that is of the maximum quality so that they can convert the maximum number of clients. And a huge amount of the work that we do is around how we put in account management strategies that ensure that your customers buy from you again and again. And since the beginning of this lockdown period, we've been constantly revising and refreshing our approaches to the way that we carry out these processes. We've been trying to respond to the market, reflect market changes, and we have been writing some new guidelines around how we account manage, and that's what I want to share with you today. So I've got 5 very short slides. I know that Tudor will share the slides with you afterwards. The slides are to ensure that you can snapshot the screen if you want to. I'm gonna, through the magic of technology, share these slides with you now. So you should be able to see them now. I'm going to ask Tudor to shout at me if you either cannot see the slides or cannot see me. And then I'll continue. So this is the idea of the process now, is that we want you to maximize your existing relationships with your clients. Now more than ever, the clients who are already spending money with you, the clients who are already loyal to you, the clients who have previously spent with you become more important than ever. We need to keep them, we need to leverage our relationships with them, we need to add value to them to make sure that we remain sustainable within this market. So we're talking now about how you elate your customers through using the account management practices that we have in place. So there have always been a set of key objectives with regard to account management, and they still remain the same. And all of our account management processes and practices are written around these objectives. And those objectives are to have maximum levels of customer satisfaction, to have happy, delighted customers who are advocates for your business. These objectives are to ensure you have great client retention, that people buy from you again and again, and you're keeping your loyal customers with you as long as you can. They're to generate as much repeat business as you possibly can, and they are to create as much referral business as you possibly can. So those 4 key objectives are the reasons that we build an account management strategy in the first place, and they're all centered around the basic premise that we must be delivering value if we want to have really, really engaged clients. And every piece of account management that happens in your business looks to track and measure, get tangible evidence for the value that is being added. So this is the stuff that has always been the same. And if your business doesn't have very, very clear strategies and processes and practices in place around how you make sure that those 4 things are true in your business, and how you constantly assess and enhance the value you're adding, then you've got an opportunity to maximize your client retention, to maximize your client loyalty. However, even with those 4 things being true, our market's changing now. And we have spent a huge amount of time in the last 3 weeks doing everything that we can to understand that changing landscape. So the very first thing that we did on the day that we got sent into lockdown was printed a list of every single client who had spent any money with us within the last 12 months, whether they were currently spending or only had done previously. We divided that list up and we engaged with every single client to make sure that we fully understood what was happening with their business. Now, I don't know whether there's anyone out there in the chat today who can say hand on heart that every single one of their suppliers has phoned them within the last 3 weeks to check up on business. But if that hasn't happened for you, then your suppliers are missing an opportunity. So the one thing that's really important to recognize now is that the value that you used to add may no longer be relevant. Yeah, we had live projects with a number of clients, and the work that we had proposed for them, the products and services that they were planning to buy from us, simply became irrelevant the day that we all got sent to work from our homes, simply became irrelevant the day we had to furlough staff, simply became irrelevant when our client base declined. So the value that we might have been adding 4 or 5 weeks ago, the areas in which our customers were really getting good benefit from us, that suddenly became a completely different story. So when we were reaching out to our clients, we were looking to understand 4 key things. And these are the things that I would be encouraging you to ask of your entire target market. And I would be asking you to ask these questions of your peer group, your suppliers, as well as your customers, so that you have a really clear picture of where you're positioned in the market. So number 1 is business impact. Yeah. Tell me a bit about what's gone on for business for you in the last 3 to 4 weeks. Talk to me about what's changed. Yeah, what's different, what's better, what's worse. Really understand how this really unique scenario has impacted on an organization. And what we've learned is that even 2 businesses in competing markets have had very different impacts depending on the nature of the business. And they wanted to engage with our services in a very, very different way. So the value that we were adding before needed to change in response to that. I'd also be asking you to think really carefully about what we call vertical market review. So asking your customers what's going on with their client base. Which of their customers are thriving? Which of their customers are declining? Who are they finding are moving effectively into a new space and still managing to engage? Who's had to furlough team members? Who's sent people home to homework? What's happening in different sectors, so that you can begin to assess which industries are responding in which ways and get a sense of where you remain valid. Yeah. The third question, sorry, if I could count, I'd be powerful. The third question that we're asking everybody is what's going on with their supply chain? Which of their suppliers are still able to provide for them? Where are they being let down? Where is it becoming impossible for them to offer their product or service because they don't have the same access as they had before? Unearthing the answer to all of these questions from everyone in your account management base is going to support you to make sure that you can adjust and continue to add value. And then the final question that we built into our account management fact finds with everyone that we were dealing with was the shape of their team. And this has been fundamental. And it doesn't matter whether you're selling office chairs, pencils, HR support, or sales training. Who's in the business, whether they're working from home, whether they're furloughed, what type of activities they're taking part in, will allow you to reassess how that business is functioning. So the first thing that I would encourage everyone to do, if it isn't done already, is to create that list of everyone who has done business with you within the last 12 months and reach out and have these conversations. Seek to get an understanding of what's happening with their business right now and what impact it's having. Kicking off with that initial conversation will then allow you to move forward with a much more educated position. So what we've identified here at Elation is that, broadly speaking, there are 3 business types in the current climate. And I don't know if any of you here follow a chap called Phil M. Jones. Feel free to put a little note in the comments if you have. Phil M. Jones is a sales speaker and writer who is predominantly on LinkedIn. And he actually has a similar theory to this, that there are 3 types of business that are emerging from this lockdown scenario. At Elation, we define them in these 3 categories. There's declining, there's booming, and there's innovating. And in order that you can understand how to best serve each of these 3 markets, you need to be able to categorize your clients into one of them. Now, please know, every single client in every category deserves the same level of service from you, deserves the same level of value from you, but in a different way. So we're not categorizing to create a hierarchy, we're categorizing to shape our offering more effectively. So business type number one are those whose business is declining. These guys have got less clients, they've got lower inquiries, they've got very high levels of cancellation, their product's in low demand. You might be in one of those businesses now. You will certainly have clients who are in that type of business now. These are the businesses that without peer support, without excellent supplier nurturing, will struggle to make it through. And if as a provider to that company, you can be part of their success story, your product and service offering can add value, and you can be part of the reason that they survive, that's a fantastic way of nurturing that relationship. The second area of business we're seeing are the booming businesses. These are the businesses that sell toilet roll, hand sanitizer. These are the businesses that sell PPE wear, and we have a number of them in our client base. And these are the businesses who are supporting in business finance. These are the businesses who work in HR and have had to support with furloughing. And what we see of these businesses, very high level of inquiry, but often supply chain issues. Their clients are coming to them in crisis, so their clients are desperate, needy, and very highly demanding. They might have resource issues that they know will be temporary, and they don't know how to react and respond to them. So again, these businesses are in an area of flux. They might be seeing a massive increase in turnover, but there's challenges in those businesses. There's a risk of destabilization. There's higher level of needs. Your business needs to understand how it can respond to a booming business and do so in a way that adds value and that continues to deliver. And then the final business, which might evolve out of either of those two types of business, in fact, is the innovating business. These are the businesses who are changing their service offerings. They're moving into new target markets. They're building new content. They're changing their strategy. They're determined to innovate. Their needs will be ever changing. You can work with them to preempt those needs. You can work with them to help their innovation. I'm sure that there'll be many of us out there that will have recognized that we're giving more of our time for free now than we might have given before. I certainly am. I've got absolutely no negative opinion or position about that whatsoever. In times of crisis, it's important that we share skill and we share content. So whichever one of these three categories your client fits into, you firstly need to understand whether they're declining, booming, or innovating, and you then need to think about how you can shape your service offering, you can shape your product offering so that you can continue to add value even while their business is changing. And we've got some examples here of options that you might want to put in place. Now, I would advocate that you guys do some serious brainstorming and that you think about who are our declining clients, who are our booming clients, who are our innovating clients, and you do some serious work to think about what your offering is going to look like to that type of business. But these are just some ideas that you might think to come up with. So you might create new products. It may be that you source new products from different locations. It may be that you package your products in different ways. It may be that you build a service offering that's slightly different. You know, we're doing so much more one-to-one coaching than we used to do before for obvious reasons. People aren't gathering in groups. People are isolated and they want independent support. So we have shaped our offering to make sure that it meets the needs of our market. Provide free advice, support people through with knowledge and credibility. How can you share that with your target market? How can you demonstrate credibility? What business solutions can you give them? What future scenarios can you preempt? How can you support them on this journey of change? Build communities. We are all sitting in a community now that has been built by Tudor as a response to this challenging time. Every one of us has the opportunity to create peer-to-peer environments, to create knowledge sharing communities, to make sure that people can still access human content and knowledge and share that content in as wider media as possible. I'm sure we've all been invited to way more webinars than we've ever been invited to before, but take advantage of them. Be the voice that's speaking. I think if in your business you can continue to share information in a really positive way. I'm going to stop my screen share now. share information in a really positive way, if you can continue to engage with your clients and understand them in as deep a way as is possible during this current climate, you will be able to generate future reputation, you will be able to generate longevity of relationships, and people who stick with their clients right now will keep their clients when we come out the other side of this. So we encourage you to nurture your relationships now in a way that you've never before, by understanding exactly how the impact has been for everybody in the market. So those are my tips and tricks about account management and how we can reflect on this new market and adapt and change. Thanks, Martin, for that great prospecting content, because I know it's slightly terrifying to think about how we build new relationships in this world. I hope that was useful for everybody, and we look forward to loads of questions from you all.
Lovely. Thank you, Karen. That's brilliant.